Father's Day, 8:42 a.m., Columbus, Ohio. I'm pouring coffee when the doorbell punches twice, quick, entitled, UPS, medium box. Too light for tools, too heavy for socks. I sign, set it on the kitchen island. Diane wipes her hands, tilts her head. Who's it from? No return address, I say. Just my name, Jack Bennett. I slide my thumb along the seam and stop. Diane points. Jack. Look, tiny punctures in the cardboard, evenly spaced, breathing holes. I feel it before I hear it, the faintest shift, like something alive repositioning in a cramped seat on a turbulent flight. Then a soft, deliberate hiss. My mind flips through possibilities. Pet, prank, threat. Our daughter, Lauren, has a black belt in dramatic gestures. Her husband, Tyler, is the enabler who hands her the weapons and tells her to aim for our guilt. Diane steps back. Don't touch it. I know, I say, already dialing. 911. 911. 911. What's your emergency? Suspicious package, I say. Address is 3240 Willowbrook. Box with breathing holes, audible hissing. Delivered 10 minutes ago. No return address. Stay away from the package, the dispatcher says. We're sending officers and animal control. Any known threats? I look at the calendar. Father's Day. Then at the folder on the counter labeled, The Will. Updated draft. The timing feels surgical. Family conflict, I answer. Financial. We've been trying to set boundaries. Understood. Keep line open. Diane's phone lights up on the counter. Lauren. Text. Happy Father's Day. Maybe today you'll finally understand family. I say nothing. Because family, according to Lauren, means my bank accounts, my retirement, my peace of mind. It means, Dad, advance the inheritance now. And if I say no, I'm a monster who doesn't love his grandkids. Another hiss, longer. Diane's voice shrinks. Jack, this is toxic. No. The doorbell rings again, authoritative this time. 2 officers. Calm eyes, steady hands. They see the holes, hear the sound. Radio for animal control without drama. You did the right thing, sir, one says. We'll keep you back. I nod. And do what I should have done 3 years ago. I step behind a boundary and let professionals take over. While we wait, I open my bank app. I'm not touching the box, but I can inventory the damage we've been pretending is love. Recurring transfers to Lauren's checking. Auto pay for her insurance. 2 temporary Venmo bailouts that became a subscription. I swipe to credit card activity. There it is. Last Tuesday, 2:14 p.m. Buckeye Reptiles, $129. I tap for details. Authorized user, Lauren B. The purchase location is 20 minutes from her apartment. The note on my statement reads, emergency supplies. That's her word for everything that isn't rent but somehow costs more. I screenshot it. Written evidence. Timestamp. Merchant. Amount. If she tries to gaslight me later, you're imagining things, Dad. I'll have the pixels. Animal control arrives with a hard case and a calm voice. The specialist kneels, listens, nods. He opens the flaps in a practiced move and extracts a 3-foot corn snake, non-venomous, orange and patient. Innocent creature. Weaponized by a human. Likely a pet store buy, he says. Someone poked holes to keep it breathing. Cruel to the snake. Cruel to you. Note. He secures the animal. I secure a decision, because here's the part I haven't said out loud. For years, I've been the enabler too. I told myself I was helping. I wrote checks to quiet the chaos, thinking I was protecting family, but paying ransom trains the kidnapper. I can still hear last week's fight. Lauren's voice, sharp enough to cut a granite countertop. Dad, you're hoarding money like a narcissist. You want control. Control? I worked 40 years to earn a quiet morning, and I'm standing in my kitchen with a snake in a box. The officer asks the question that matters. Do you know who might have sent this? I look at the phone with Lauren's text glowing like a warning label. I look at the will folder. I look at the Buckeye Reptiles charge. Then I choose my words carefully. We've had conflicts, I say. Money, entitlement, deadlines and ultimatums. We said no. He writes that down. Do you want to file a report? My mouth answers before my fear can. Yes, and I want the incident number. He gives it. I text it to myself, to Diane, and quietly to a new contact my neighbor recommended last week. Camila Reyes, attorney. I attach the screenshot of Buckeye reptiles and a photo of the box with the breathing holes. Subject: written evidence, possible harassment. I write one sentence. We're done paying to be afraid. Diane grips my wrist. Jack, what if this escalates? It already did. I point to the empty box. On Father's Day, my phone pings again. Lauren, are you home? We need to talk. Bring your checkbook. No more games. Diane exhales like she's been underwater. This is deliberate. I shake my head. This is a pattern. I open the bank app again and hover over Manage Users. Lauren's name sits under Authorized. One tap will change who I am in this story, from the ATM to the adult in the room. Was I enabling their toxic behavior all this time by being too nice? I say it out loud so I can't pretend I didn't think it. It's time to stop feeling guilty and start fighting back. I don't click yet. Not without a plan. Not without documentation. I take photos of the box, the label, the living room, the officers, the animal control van, the time, the weather, the date. I email them to myself. Subject: evidence. 6/16. Father's Day package. The officer hands me a card. If the sender shows up or contacts you, call us. Don't negotiate. Boundaries keep people safe. Copy that, I say, and I mean it. When they leave, the house feels different, emptier in the best way. Like someone took a heavy mirror off the wall, and I can finally see the paint color we chose. I place the will back in the folder. I put the folder in the safe. I lock the safe and stare at the keypad like it's a compass pointing home. Diane squeezes my shoulder. She'll come, she says. With him. I nod. And when she does, she can meet my boundaries and my lawyer. My phone vibrates one more time. Unknown number. Voicemail transcribes in real time. Mr. Bennett. This is Camila Reyes. I saw your email and the screenshots. Do not engage. Do not pay. Document everything. I'm available today. We can protect your will, your accounts, and your peace of mind. Call me back. I look at Diane. I look at the box-shaped shadow on the counter. Father's Day started with a hiss. It's going to end with a signature. I didn't become an ATM dad in one day. It happened drip by drip, tiny emergencies branded as love. It started when Lauren borrowed my Amex in grad school. For textbooks, I added her as an authorized user. Temporary. The card never came back. The emergencies multiplied. VO montage receipts and numbers. Auto transfer. $1,200. Divided by month. Just until Tyler finds work. Auto pay. Her car insurance on my policy so she won't lose coverage. Auto pay. Zelle divided by Venmo. Rent gap. Urgent daycare. Phone got shut off. $300. $500. $2,000. The memo lines read like weather warnings. I sold my old '09 Tacoma to cover a surprise credit card balloon. We skipped a New England trip for our anniversary because Ava needs dance camp, Dad. I told myself it was love. It was enabling. The last argument detonated 6 days before Father's Day. Scene: living room, early evening. Diane was making tea. I had the will folder open with notes from our estate attorney. Lauren and Tyler arrived without texting. The kind of entitled entrance that says, "We live here when we need to." Lauren didn't sit. She scanned the folder. "You're updating the will and didn't tell me?" "It's my will," I said. "And your mother's. We're protecting our retirement and setting clear boundaries." Tyler slouched into the corner of our couch like he owned the deed. "Old man, why not just give the inheritance now? You can watch us, put it to good use." "That's not how inheritances work," I said. "And it's not how adulthood works." Lauren folded her arms. "Say it. You don't trust me." "I don't trust your spending," I said. "There's a difference." Her smile went paper thin. "I'm drowning, Dad. If you were a decent father, you'd help without making me feel like a criminal." "You're not a criminal," I said. "You're avoiding consequences." Tyler snorted. "Maybe if you hadn't raised her with control issues, she wouldn't have anxiety." There it was, the gaslighting pivot. Our refusal was now the cause of their chaos. I slid a stack of printed statements across the coffee table. "Here's the last 12 months of transfers. Here are the auto pays I set up for your insurance and phone. And here," I clicked my bank app. Is today's scheduled $1,200. We've covered every emergency. They keep happening. Lauren didn't look down. Narcissists rarely check mirrors unless they asked for them. So the rumors are true, she said softly. You're hoarding. You want control. Diane stepped in gently. We love you. Love includes limits. Lauren's eyes hardened. Love would mean access. To the accounts. To the investment login. To the house if we need it. Tyler leaned forward. Let's cut the lecture. We need $8,000 by Friday. We're behind on rent, car note, and Ava's recital is next week. A recital is not an emergency, I said. And your rent is not my bill. Was there's like for Mashin. Family pays family, Tyler said. Family doesn't extort family. I said back. Lauren grabbed the will folder and flipped through. What's this about a trust? Draft, I said. Education trust for Ava and Mason. Funds locked to school and verified costs only. You and Tyler wouldn't have access. Her laugh cracked. You're cutting me out. I'm protecting the grandchildren from adult mistakes, I said. She went quiet, the kind of quiet that rings. Then the threat I could recite by heart. If you pull this, don't expect to see the kids. Actions have consequences. You're right, I said. They do. She stared like she didn't know me. I didn't know myself either. I sounded free. Tyler stood big on bluster. We know your routines. You think a couple of passwords can stop real life? Diane's teacup rattled on the saucer. I kept my voice level. Leave. We'll speak again when we can talk without bullying. Lauren didn't move. $8,000. No, I said. Not now. Not again. She looked at Diane. Mom? Diane's answer surprised even me. I agree with your father. Something in Lauren's face flickered rage. Disbelief. Maybe grief. She set the will folder down like it burned, and left without a door slam. Tyler stayed long enough to whisper, "This isn't over," and followed. After they were gone, the family photo on the mantel had somehow flipped face down. I don't know when. I set it upright and saw 3 people who used to believe generosity could outshout gravity. That night I wrote an email I never sent. Subject: Boundaries. 2. Lauren Bennett. We love you. We won't fund chaos. We'll help with planning, budgeting, therapy. Not with bailouts. If you threaten access to the kids, we'll put everything in writing and move through official channels. Love is not a payment plan. Dad, I deleted the draft. Not because it was wrong, but because the evidence was better than words. I started a folder on my desktop. Lauren records. Inside. PDFs of bank transfers, screenshots of texts demanding money, a timeline of every emergency we had subsidized, and a copy of the Ring doorbell log. Diane watched me build the archive. Do you ever feel cruel? She asked. I feel late, I said. Late to the truth. She nodded, tears controlled. I don't want to lose her. I don't want to lose us, I said. Those 2 wants aren't equal. The week crawled. Lauren didn't call until Friday. Text chain went like this. Lauren. Rent due today. Did you move the money? Me. We're not transferring rent anymore. We can meet to discuss a plan with a budget counselor. Lauren. Unbelievable. You want me homeless to prove a point? Me. I want you stable. Stability starts with a plan, not a handout. Lauren. You're a narcissist. Me. Name-calling won't change math. Then radio silence. It wasn't peace. It was planning, I see that now. Saturday, I pulled our retirement binder from the safe and highlighted the accounts that needed PIN updates. I listed every authorized user and every auto-pay tied to Lauren. I printed a 1-page plan: revoke authorized user access, cancel auto-pays to Lauren's bills, update PINs and online banking passwords, initiate education trust with independent trustee, document all contact, consult legal. I slid the plan under a magnet on the fridge like a recipe. Diane tapped the paper. If we do this, she'll escalate. She already has, I said. Sunday morning delivered the box with breathing holes and the hiss. The officers came. The snake left. The incident number landed in my phone, and one more thing clicked into place. A merchant charge. I'd missed Buckeye Reptiles. I pulled card settings, saw authorized, Lauren Bennett, and the timestamp 2:14 p.m. last Tuesday. I printed the page, circled the line item, and dropped it into divided by Lauren records. divided by like the final bead on a wire. That afternoon I walked the cul-de-sac while Diane napped. It was a quiet, Ohio day, neighbors mowing, the smell of cut grass, summer pretending nothing breaks. I asked myself the question I'd dodged for years. Was I enabling their toxic behavior all this time by being too nice? The answer was not kind. It was useful. By sunset I had a new draft of our will letter and the courage to use it. I also had a voicemail from a stranger with a steady voice and a plan. Camila Reyes. Do not engage, do not pay, document everything. I saved her number. I saved the evidence. I saved Diane's hand in mine as the sky turned gold and the house finally felt like ours again. People think the last straw is loud. Sometimes it's a soft hiss in a cardboard box that tells you the story you're in and the one you're going to write next. By the time the patrol car idled at our curb, the house already smelled like adrenaline. Cold coffee, metal, and fear we pretended was caution. 2 officers stepped in, measured, not dramatic. The taller one raised an open palm. Sir, ma'am, let's keep distance. I'm Officer Hale. This is Officer New. Can you confirm? Delivered today. No return address. Audible hissing. Yes, I said. 8:42 a.m. UPS. Box has breathing holes. I pointed. The cardboard looked innocent again, like it hadn't just redefined Father's Day. Nguyen angled his head, listening. A soft slide from inside, then that controlled hiss. He keyed his shoulder mic. Dispatch. Request animal control for suspected live reptile. Non-venom risk unknown. Residents secure. Homeowners compliant. Diane whispered. It's surreal. She meant toxic. She meant our daughter would never, except she might. Hale took my ID and returned a minute later. We'll log this as suspicious package, divided by possible harassment. Do you want an incident number? Yes, I said. We're documenting. He recited it. I repeated it into my notes, app, date, time, case number. Written evidence beats memory. Always. While we waited, my phone buzzed. Tyler, he rarely texted me directly. Tyler, heard you got a delivery. Laugh my ass off. Don't be so dramatic, old man. Me. Do not contact me. All communication in writing only. Tyler, you're a joke. Family helps family. I screenshotted the thread, added it to divided by Lauren records. Named the file 2024-0616, Tyler texts. PNG. If he wanted to play gaslighting, he could argue with timestamps. Animal control rolled up with a white van and calm competence. The Tech M. Johnson stitched on his shirt carried a rigid transport case, a hook, and gloves. Seen this before, he said, kneeling by the island. Pet store by, holes for air, zero empathy for the animal or the recipient. 2 practiced moves and the flaps parted. He lifted out a 3-foot corn snake, sunset, orange and docile. An innocent pressed into service. Non-venomous, he said, easing it into the carrier. Stressed but okay. We'll transfer it to a rescue. Hale watched, then turned to me. Mr. Bennett, who would want to scare you on Father's Day? I glanced at the kitchen safe, the will, updated draft locked inside, and then at the bank app still open on Buckeye Reptiles, $129. I didn't bluff. We've had escalating demands, money, inheritance. We set boundaries. It didn't go over well. Nguyen wrote while his eyes measured my words. Names? I said them. Lauren Bennett and Tyler Grant. Saying your child's name to a police officer in this context tastes like tin and grief. Johnson snapped the carrier shut. We'll log chain of custody for the box too, Nguyen added, pulling an evidence bag for the shipping label. Any Ring doorbell footage of delivery? Yes, I said, already tapping. The clip loaded. 8:41 a.m. UPS uniform. Scan. Drop. Ding. I airdropped the file to Nguyen's device and emailed it to myself. Subject. 6/16 delivery ring video. Hale nodded. Here's your printed incident card with number and our emails. If the sender contacts you, call us. Do not respond. This qualifies as harassment, potentially menacing depending on follow-up. If they show up, keep the door closed and dial 911. Understood, I said. If this is tied to money, what's the right next step legally? Not a graft. In wording 5 then. Talk to an attorney, Nguyen said. Not unkind. Consider a civil protection order if there's a pattern, texts, threats, surveillance. Your documentation is excellent. Keep it up. Excellent documentation. Funny compliment for a father on Father's Day. They left the kitchen intact, but for the outline, a box-shaped shadow had stamped onto the counter. Diane pressed her palms there like testing a bruise. Jack, it was deliberate. The timing, the holes, the text. It was a message, I said. Not a gift. My phone chimed voicemail to text from Camila Reyes, the attorney my neighbor swore by. I saw your email and attachments. This is targeted intimidation. Do not engage directly. We'll protect your will, bank accounts, and establish no contact. Save everything. Call me. I called back on speaker. Camila's voice was brisk. Steady. Mr. Bennett. First, take a breath. Second, forward me the incident number, the ring clip, the Buckeye Reptiles charge screenshot, and any texts. Third, do not send money. Do not negotiate. Fourth, change any online banking passwords and PINs after we lock down user access properly. We want a clear log. Fifth, start a written timeline. I'll draft a demand to cease and, if warranted, a petition for a civil protection order. Done, I said. Diane looked like oxygen had returned to the room. Also, Camila added, freeze any authorized user access on your cards. We'll replace plastic after we pull transaction histories for the last 24 months. If there's identity theft, new accounts opened in your name, we'll file with the FTC and police, then send credit bureau alerts. I have a folder, I said. It's thorough. Good. Thorough wins. Her tone warmed a degree. One more thing. Do not let them gaslight you into framing this as a prank. The law looks at intent and impact. Live animal delivery to an older adult on a trigger date is malicious. True. After we hung up, I took photographs like a claims adjuster. The breathing holes, the label, the counter, the carrier, the officer business cards. I printed a hard copy of the Buckeye line item and stapled my annotation. Authorized user Lauren, 2:14 p.m. last Tuesday. I dropped it into, divided by Lauren records, divided by, and mirrored the folder to a USB for off-site. Diane brushed the island clear, then stopped at the safe. Do we still include her in the will, Jack? I let the question sit. The old version of me would have stalled, bargained with myself, bought one more month of peace with one more auto transfer. The man in this kitchen had a case number and a spine. We include Ava and Mason, I said, not as leverage, as protection, education trust, independent trustee, no parental access. Diane nodded, a tear escaping without drama. Not grief, clarity. The doorbell chimed again, softer, the neighborhood kind. Our next-door neighbor, Mrs. Patel, stood with a plate of cookies and eyes that had seen the squad car. Everything okay, Jack? We're fine, I said, meaning for the first time, we will be. Just family stuff. She hesitated. If you need an extra set of eyes on the street cameras, my son can pull our nest angles. That would help, I said. Thank you. When she left, Diane exhaled. She's kind. So are we, I said. Kindness isn't funding abuse. And again to was then is live. I opened my laptop and started the timeline Camila asked for. 6/10. Argument re. Will and inheritance. Demand. $8,000. Threat. No grandkids. 6/11. Buckeye Reptiles. $129. Authorized. Lauren. 6/16 8:42 a.m. UPS delivers breathing hole package. Audible hiss. 6/16 8:55 a.m. 911 call. Officers hail divided by Nguyen. Incident number logged. 6/16 9:20 a.m. Animal control retrieves corn snake. Chain of custody initiated. 6/16 9:33 a.m. Tyler text minimizing. Don't be dramatic. 6/16 9:40 a.m. Consult attorney Camila Reyes. Next step set. I printed, signed, dated. Evidence is boring until it saves your life. Diane rinsed 2 mugs, the sound finally ordinary again. What happens if they come back? We keep the door closed, I said. We call 911. We don't debate our boundaries on the porch. The house felt lighter. Not happy, true. The kind of quiet you get after a storm shreds your old fence and you lay the first post for the new one. I slid the will folder back into the safe and spun the dial. The click sounded like a verdict. Father's Day gave me a snake. It also gave me an incident number, a lawyer, and a map back to myself. Next stop. Access revoked. The house was finally quiet, no sirens, no hissing, just the hum of the fridge and the sound of my own resolve. I opened my laptop and treated the morning like a case file. Not drama. Documentation. First tab. Ring. I pulled the exact clip. 8:41 a.m. UPS scan. Set down. Doorbell. I exported the MP4, saved it to Divided by Lauren Records, renamed it 2024-06-16, UPS, delivery, MP4, and grabbed still frames where the barcode was visible. Second tab. UPS tracking. I keyed the number off the still. Delivered. Sunday, 8:42 a.m. Signature not required. I printed the page and stapled it behind the stills. Chain of delivery check. Next tab. Bank credit cards activity. I filtered for last 30 days and downloaded a CSV. The line item hit like a gavel. Buckeye Reptiles. $129, 6/11, 2:14 p.m. I clicked details. The metadata showed authorized user, Lauren Bennett, and the store's terminal ID. I took a clean screenshot and printed the extended details page that shows user, terminal, timestamp, and location. I circled them like a teacher, grading excuses. I called the number on the back of the card. Fraud prevention, this is Anna. Not fraud, I said. Misuse by an authorized user. I need the full receipt image if available, and a merchant contact. She verified me with ridiculous precision. Mother's maiden name. Last 4, recent charges. Then, yes, I see Buckeye Reptiles. Because it's an authorized user, we can't dispute as fraud, but we can revoke access and note misuse. I can also email you the merchant descriptor and request copy of the signed receipt. Do both, I said. And freeze the physical card until the replacement arrives. Done. You'll get an email with the case number. It hit my inbox before I hung up. Case number, CC91472, merchant copy request. I forwarded it to Camila with a one-liner. More paper. Back to the investigation. Phone photos. I shot a clean series. The breathing holes, the label, the counter shadow. The incident card with Officer Hale divided by Nguyen's info. I printed them 2 to a page and signed the backs with date divided by time. Provenance matters when people start saying, "You're exaggerating." Email chime Camila again. Subject, keep going. Camila. Great timeline. Add phone logs, voicemails, and a note of any threat language, for example. We know your routines. I'll draft a cease and desist and a petition for a civil protection order, CPO. Also, start a contact protocol. All communications in writing only. No in-person visits. Violations equals law enforcement. I created a new doc. Contact protocol. 1 page. Simple bullets. I printed 2 copies and taped one inside the hall closet above the phone like a fire evacuation map. My texts with Lauren weren't long, but they were loud. I exported the thread to PDF. She had typed narcissist, control, family pays family. I had typed budget counselor, no more transfers, name calling won't change math. I highlighted the phrase that turned a financial ask into a threat. We know your routines. I added Tyler's earlier text. Don't be so dramatic, old man, because minimization is its own tactic. When you can't deny, you downplay. It's a cousin of gaslighting. I checked the Nest Share link from Mrs. Patel's son. Side angle of the UPS drop, confirming the time. I downloaded that too. Labeled it 2024-06-16. Nest. Angle. MP4. 2 lenses beat 1 when people claim wrong house. Then I did something that felt like betrayal and relief at the same time. I opened Find My and checked the family location sharing I'd left on years ago for safety. Lauren's phone had pinged within a half-mile of Buckeye Reptiles at 2:09 p.m. on 6/11. I took a screenshot, dropped it into the folder, and disabled her access to my location. Boundaries aren't mean, they're maps. Diane stood in the doorway with 2 glasses of water. Do you need a break? I need to finish, I said. Half measures are how we got here. I typed the sentence that would live under glass in my mind. Was I enabling their toxic behavior all this time by being too nice? It's time to stop feeling guilty and start fighting back. I put it at the top of the timeline as a header. Not for the court. For me. I called our bank branch. This is Jack Bennett. I need to review authorized users on all accounts and remove external transfers to my daughter effective immediately. The manager, Miss Carter, didn't waste words. Come in Monday with ID. We'll print signer cards, remove her access, and set verbal passwords. If you like, we'll add a note. No changes by phone. Add it, I said. And pre-print the revocation forms. Done. I ran a credit report on myself via annualcreditreport.com free weekly now. I checked for new accounts. Clean. Thank God. Still, I set fraud alerts with all 3 bureaus because I've learned not to confuse hasn't happened with won't happen. I screenshotted each confirmation page and added them to the file. Text Lauren. Unreadable tone. Readable pattern. We're coming by later. Don't be dramatic. Just have the checkbook ready. Ava's counting on you. I didn't respond. No in-person negotiation. I copied the message into the timeline with a note. Explicit demand for money. Implied leverage via grandchild. I emailed Camila. They're coming. Her reply was immediate. Do not open the door. If they refuse to leave, call 911 and reference your incident number. I'll have the CPO draft ready in the morning. Also, I'm contacting Buckeye Reptiles for camera stills. Retailers often keep front counter cams. If we get a face plus receipt, that's a bow on the package. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry at bow on the package. I chose neither. I chose laser. I printed access revoked in 72-point font and taped it above my screen like a coach's slogan. Then I walked the house like a superintendent. Front lock good, back slider bar installed, garage keypad code changed, safe locked, router password updated, guest Wi-Fi off. Diane watched me reset the ring alert to people only and chime on doorbell press. You look lighter, she said. I am, I said. Every click is a conversation I don't have to repeat. I emailed myself a zipped copy of Divided by, Lauren Records, Divided by, and uploaded another to a cloud folder named Divided by Estate Evidence. I added read-only access for Camila's office. Redundancy is kindness to your future self. Doorbell, just the wind chime this time. Neighbors' kids on scooters. I stood at the window and rehearsed the new line I'd say through the door. Calm as linoleum. All communication in writing. Please leave the property. No speeches, no history, no guilt. At 5:10 p.m., an email from Buckeye Reptiles hit my inbox forwarded by Camila. Per attorney request, attached is a still from 6/11, 2 hours 13 minutes and 27 seconds p.m. Customer at register. We also have the itemized receipt with last 4 of card and authorized user initials, LB. I opened the JPEG. Tyler's face, clear as day, tilting toward the card reader. Lauren in profile, staring at a plastic terrarium. The receipt PDF listed corn snake, 1, heat pack, 1, shipping safe box, 1. The note line, special, Father's Day sale. Say, Diane's hand found mine. It's proof. It's a mirror, I said, of everything we didn't want to see. I slid both files into the folder, right under my sentence about guilt and fighting back. Then I powered down. Because the investigation wasn't the point. The boundary was, when the sun dropped behind the maple trees, the kitchen glowed that Ohio gold I love. I locked the front door, left the porch light on, and stood still long enough to notice I wasn't bracing anymore. I wasn't waiting for the next emergency. I was building a system where emergencies bounce. If they came tonight, I had a script and a number. If they came tomorrow, I'd have Camila and a CPO. If they kept coming, I'd have a judge. I poured 2 glasses of water and set one by Diane. Tomorrow, I said. We move from documentation to action. She smiled, small, certain. Tomorrow, she said. At 2 p.m., the ring chimed and my phone lit the living room. Lauren front porch. Tyler half a step behind, chest out like he owned the zip code. Diane whispered, remember the script. Thanks for watching. In clears and like, in beating them. It wall to the numbers and 2 is of Reevely and Downder. They ready to the product. They were caught afforded. They were be evaluated. I nodded, opened the ring live view, and turned up the volume. I did not open the door. Lauren leaned on the bell. Long press, power move. Through the solid wood I said, evenly, all communication in writing. Please leave the property. She scoffed. Dad, stop being dramatic. Open the door. All communication in writing, I repeated. If you refuse to leave, I'll call 911 and reference my incident number. Tyler laughed toward the camera, like he was flirting with it. We're not strangers, old man. It's family. Family doesn't extort family, I said. You're trespassing. Please leave. Lauren's voice sharpened. Ava needs her recital fee. Rent is due. You promised. I promised to stop funding chaos. We can discuss a budget plan with a third party in writing. Not on my porch. She moved closer to the peephole like she could argue with hardware. Open this door, Dad. Now. Diane's hand hovered over my arm. I didn't move. I tapped record on the ring. A red dot pulsed. You have two options, I said. Leave, or I call 911. Incident number on file. Tyler's smile dropped. We know your routines. You don't want us making a scene out here. You already are, I said. Leave. He stepped off the mat and tried the handle on the garage side door out of frame. It didn't budge. The deadbolt I'd tested an hour earlier did its job. The sound of him rattling metal traveled through the hallway like a fork in a disposal. Attempted entry, I said, loud enough for the mic. Documented. Lauren pounded the main door, now 3 precise hits. If you don't open this door, you will never see the kids again. Threat noted, I said. Calling 911. I hit the call. Suspicious persons known to us, refusing to leave. Ongoing civil harassment case, incident number. I read it. They're on the porch, attempting side entry. Stay inside, the dispatcher said. Units en route. Keep the line open. Diane exhaled like someone released a valve. I put the phone on speaker and let the dispatcher fill the quiet with competent typing. Outside, Lauren switched tactics, the gaslighting register I knew too well. Dad, this is insane. We just want to talk. You're acting like a narcissist, locking us out. Talking is writing, I said. Email me your budget, your plan to cut expenses, and a proposed repayment schedule. No more transfers. No more transfers. Tyler leaned into the ring, eyes hard. Or you just write the check like you always do. That era is over. A door across the cul-de-sac opened. Mrs. Patel stepped onto her porch, phone in hand. A civilian lighthouse. Tyler saw her and lowered his voice, hissing what he thought the mic wouldn't catch. Push the door when he unlatches. I didn't unlatch. Sirens never sound like the movies from inside your own hallway. They sound like safety deciding to show up. 2 cruisers slid to the curb. Body cams on. Calm boots on our walkway. Columbus PD, an officer called. Hands where we can see them. I cracked the door's chain and held up the incident card with Hale and Nguyen's names. Inside homeowner, I said. Same case. Copy, the officer said. He turned to Lauren and Tyler. You two are? Daughter, Lauren said, sounding offended, as if DNA nullified trespass. He's being ridiculous. Tyler folded his arms. This is a family matter. Right now it's a law matter, the officer said. Homeowner has asked you to leave and documented a prior incident. Unless invited inside, you're trespassing. Lauren tried tears. He's cutting us off. He's punishing us. Adult finances are civil issues, the other officer said evenly. You were told to communicate in writing. That's reasonable. Tyler gestured at the house. He owes us. No one owes you access to their property or bank, the officer said, bored in that trained way. I'm going to ask you once more to leave. If you refuse, we escalate. I spoke through the crack, calm as a bank teller. Officers, I will provide video of attempted entry on the side door and texts referencing my routines. I intend to pursue a civil protection order in the morning. I'm notifying counsel. Good, the officer said. He pivoted. Ma'am, sir, time to go. Lauren's face calcified. If he files anything, you'll handle it in court. The officer finished. Not on his porch. Tyler took one last look into the ring, like he wanted to win a stare down with a lens, then tugged Lauren toward the driveway. They didn't slam car doors. They stabbed them. The cruisers idled until the taillights disappeared. The officer walked back to my door. Mr. Bennett, will note trespass warning issued. If they return tonight, call us again. Consider a no trespass letter through your attorney. We'll keep it on file. Already in motion, I said. Thank you. When the street settled, I locked the chain, the deadbolt, the handle, then walked to the garage side door and photographed the scratched paint around the knob. Diane stood in the kitchen with 2 mugs like she'd willed them there. "Did we just win?" she asked. "We didn't fight their war," I said. "We changed the rules." My phone buzzed. Email from Camila. "Good call. I've drafted the cease and desist, no trespass notice, and the petition for a CPO. I'll file first thing. Forward the side door photo and tonight's ring clip. Also, tomorrow we open the education trust paperwork." Another buzz. Lauren. Text. "You chose money over family. Don't call when you're dying." I took a breath and typed the line from the contact protocol. "All communication in writing only. Do not come to the property. Future contact through counsel." I screenshotted, saved, labeled 2024-0-616. Lauren. Threat. Text. PNG. "Evidence is boring until it isn't." Diane slid a mug toward me. "What now?" "Now we sleep," I said. Door closed. Case number on the fridge. Lawyer at 9. As I killed the porch light, the access revoked printout above my monitor caught the lamp glow like a banner over a new stadium. I realized I wasn't waiting for the next knock. I was ready for it. By 8:58 a.m., Diane and I were in a 9th floor conference room that smelled like legal pads and fresh coffee. Frosted glass read, Rees and Holland LLP Estate. Civil Protection. Elder Law. The skyline of Columbus floated outside like a screensaver I could finally watch without checking my bank app. Camila Reyes entered like a verdict sleek navy suit, no wasted movement. She set a thin red folder in front of me. "Mr. Bennett, Mrs. Bennett, morning. We move on 3 tracks: protection, paper, pressure." Diane's fingers laced around her mug. "Translate. Protection. Civil Protection Order CPO," Camila said. "It's civil, but violation is criminal. We'll plead menacing by stalking divided by harassment. Attach your incident report. Ring divided by nest, video texts, the merchant proof from Buckeye Reptiles, and last night's trespass warning. Judge can issue an ex parte temporary order today." I nodded. "Paper? 2 layers," she said, flipping the folder. 1. Estate. We execute an education trust for Ava and Mason. Spendthrift, protected, independent trustee. Distributions only for documented educational expenses. Tuition, books, tutoring, testing fees. No parental access. 2. Financial controls. Formal revocation of authorized user, no trespass notice, cease and desist, and we lock your accounts with a branch-level note. No changes by phone. In person only with verbal password. Pressure? Diane asked. We build a record and create consequences, Camila said. If they text, call, show up, or ask a third party to harass you, call me, and you call 911. We don't negotiate with toxic patterns. She slid documents like a magician dealing cards. CPO petition, my name already typed. Sections highlighted for signature. Affidavit of harassment, bullet-pointed timeline I'd built. Now in legalese. Cease and desist plus no trespass, 2 letters on letterhead, addressed to Lauren Bennett and Tyler Grant. Trust agreement, education trust, Bennett grandchildren trustee. Franklin Guardian Trust Co. successor trustee named. Clear spendthrift clause. Revocation of authorized user for my credit card, and a memo to Miss Carter at the branch. Camila tapped the red folder. Also, Exhibit E, merchant evidence. We have more. She turned her laptop. An email chain filled the screen. Subject: receipt copy plus register, still 6/11. The attachments were worse and better than the JPEG from last night. A countercam still with Tyler holding my card. Lauren at his shoulder. The itemized receipt reading corn snake, heat pack, shipping safe box, and my favorite signature panel with the initialed scrawl LB. Store managers willing to sign a custodian affidavit, Camila said. I drafted it. We'll staple this to your petition. A judge likes clean chain of custody and third-party corroboration. I breathed for what felt like the first time in a week. You work fast. I work prepared, she said, then softened a degree. And this isn't my first family financial case. A flicker crossed her face. Quick, private. I filed it under human and let it go. We signed. I initialed. She notarized. Diane's pen shook once at no parental access in the trust, then steadied. Love. Directed correctly. Looks like guardrails. Camila handed me a 1-page protocol sheet. Do not engage in porch or phone arguments. All communication in writing. Call 911 on any presence at the property. Reference incident number. Forward every text divided by email divided by voicemail to our case inbox. No transfers, no loans. No, one last time. Monday 1:30 p.m. Meet Miss Carter at your branch. Add verbal password. Remove authorized users. Update PINs after we download full transaction histories. Today 4 p.m. Sign trust funding letter for initial deposit. Expect service of CPO divided by letters within 24-48 hours. Sheriff divided by process server will handle it. If they weaponize the grandchildren, we coordinate with school and pediatrician. No pickups, no third-party triangulation. Diane nodded. And if Lauren says we're choosing money over family, Camila didn't blink. Boundaries are love. Funding chaos is enabling. If they want a financial conversation, they bring a budget, a job, and a calendar to a neutral office. Otherwise, it's a police matter. My phone buzzed. Email Miss Carter, branch manager. Mr. Bennett. Received Miss Reyes's memo. We'll see you at 1:30. Prepared, signer cards, revocation forms, and account flags. No telephone changes. Verbal password required. We'll also generate a complete authorized user spend report for the past 24 months. Camila smiled sideways. That's a good branch. I signed the CPO petition. Do we include the porch standoff? I drafted an addendum, she said, sliding it over. It quoted verbatim. We know your routines. And the patrol car's note. Trespass warning issued. She clipped the addendum behind Exhibit E like clicking a seatbelt. While her paralegal scanned, Camila pulled out a fresh pad. One more proactive step. We'll file a credit bureau fraud alert. I see you've done that good. If you see applications you didn't initiate, we escalate to identity theft report with FTC and CPD. For now, I'll send preemptive letters to the 3 bureaus listing your counsel and instructing no changes without written, notarized authorization. Do you think they'll try that? Diane asked. I think people who normalize lines crossed cross new ones when old doors shut. She slid 2 final envelopes across the table. Cease and desist and no trespass for us to initial. These go out by certified mail and process server. Paper matters. We stood. I felt taller without changing height. At the door, I hesitated. Camila, why this practice area? Most lawyers avoid family landmines. C's. She held my eyes a second longer than necessary. My mother taught high school. My father disappeared when I was 10 and reappeared when I was 19 with demands. A small shrug. Some of us build careers out of the things we needed. The elevator ride down was the quiet kind, no music, just the soft echo of choices clicking into place. Back home, the day shifted from theory to muscle memory. I emailed the signed PDFs to a folder named Divided by Counsel Active. I added Camila's case inbox as an auto-forward for any text or voicemail from Lauren or Tyler. I printed the contact protocol and taped it inside the front hall closet above the light switch. At 1:27 p.m., we walked into First Franklin Bank. Miss Carter greeted us with a firm handshake and a stack of forms. Let's protect your edges, she said, which I liked immediately. We sat in the glass cubicle that usually sells IRAs and regrettable annuities. Step 1, she said. Typing. Authorized user, Lauren Bennett removed. System requires a reason. I'm entering misuse of privileges. That note appears on internal memos if anyone tries to add her back. Step 2. Verbal password on all accounts. Phrase? She looked at me. I said, boundary is love. She grinned like she wanted to clap. She typed it. Any phone rep will ask you for that phrase before discussing balances or changes. Without it, they see a wall. Step 3. No telephone changes flag on. Step 4. Replace plastics and update PINs after I print a 24-month spend report for the card Lauren used. That preserves metadata for counsel. Step 5. Remove all external transfers to Lauren's accounts and cancel any scheduled auto-pays linked to her bills. She printed a 2-inch stack, authorized user spend report with categories, merchants, timestamps. I signed a chain of custody cover sheet. Make me a certified copy, I said. She did. As we stood to leave, Miss Carter paused. Most families don't do this soon enough. You're doing it exactly on time. On the drive home, Diane squeezed my hand. I don't feel guilty, she said, surprised at herself. I feel Stable. Stability beats drama, I said. Every time. By 4 p.m., Camila emailed, filed, and stamped. CPO petition submitted. Judge assigned. Cease and desist plus no trespass out for service. Trust agreement executed. Trustee onboarding at 10 a.m. Tomorrow for funding. Attached. Stamped copies for your records. I printed them and slid them into the safe behind the will like bricks in a foundation. The house didn't look different. It felt different, like the floor stopped slanting toward someone else's needs. At 6:11 p.m., my phone lit with unknown. Voicemail transcribed. This is Deputy Koenig, Sheriff Civil Division. Parties were served at 5:48 p.m. and 5:54 p.m., respectively. If they contact you, dial 911 and reference the CPO case number. Diane exhaled. It's happening. It already happened, I said, looking at the bold words stapled across our day. Filed, served, revoked. The verbs of a life reclaimed. I set an alarm titled, Stop Being the Enabler, and laughed at myself for the first time in weeks. Not because it was funny, because it was overdue. By morning, the house felt like a command center, folders squared, mugs lined. Sunlight hitting the access revoked printout above my monitor like a rally flag. Step 1, close the tabs. I opened the bank dashboard. Camila had already flagged and pulled up transfers recurring. The list read like a confession. $1,200 divided by month. Bridge support. Autopay. Insurance. Lauren. Autopay. Mobile. Lauren. Emergency. Venmo repeaters. I clicked edit cancel on each. Typed the reason field exactly as I wanted to remember it later. N6/17. No more funding chaos. The system asked, Are you sure? Twice like a friend who still thinks I'll cave. Yes. Confirm. Next. Users. Under credit card manage. Users. Lauren Bennett. Authorized glowed at me like a hazard light. I selected remove. Reason. Misuse of privileges. The confirmation screen popped a clean blue banner. User access removed. I printed it, signed the corner with date divided by time, and slid it into divided by Lauren records. Divided by behind the merchant receipt from Buckeye Reptiles. Paper over panic. Diane stood at the island, cross-checking our fridge one-page plan. Revoke authorized user done. Cancel autopays divided by transfers done. Update pins divided by passwords next. Fund education trust 10 a.m. Document all contact always. Zero porch debates permanent. Two-factor first, I said. Everything. We opened my password manager, changed online banking, brokerage, the 401 key portal, and anything with a $sign in the logo. I added the verbal password, Miss. Carter implemented boundary is love. If a phone rep didn't hear those 3 words, they'd see a wall. I updated pins at the kitchen table the way other men assemble grills. Methodical, maybe overkill. New digits matched something Lauren wouldn't guess. The year Diane and I eloped, plus the month we paid off the mortgage. I let the card reader spit out, pin changed, and folded the receipts into the binder behind the will. No stray slips, no unlocked doors. At 9:42 a.m. Franklin Guardian Trust Co. pinged in. Welcome, packet attached. Confirm initial funding amount and beneficiaries. Ava Bennett, Mason Bennett. Parents have no distribution rights. Documentation required for every disbursement. Sign and return. Do this now, Diane said, voice steadier than yesterday. We signed the trust funding letter seed deposit from a side savings bucket I was done pretending was for emergencies. Emergencies don't involve sequins and a fog machine at a dance recital. At 9:58, my phone flashed. Tyler, card declined at Kroger. Fix your bank. This is petty. I screenshotted, dropped it into divided by Lauren records, divided by with the file name 2024-0617. Tyler, decline, PNG, and resisted, adding a laughing emoji to the evidence list. At 10:03, Lauren, you humiliated me. Autopay failed. Insurance lapses today. If anything happens to me or the kids, that's on you. I copied in the contact protocol reply. All communication in writing. No in-person visits. Future contact through counsel. Then I forwarded both texts to Camila's case inbox. 10 seconds later, perfect paper. Don't engage the blame shift. Sheriff confirmed service yesterday. CPO hearing likely tomorrow. I'll prep you. I spent the next hour on the utilities tour. Removed guest Wi-Fi, reset the router login, killed Lauren's iPad on the network, updated Ring and Nest admin to exclude all devices that were mine 10 years ago, and ours, all too recently. I toggled people-only mode, turned on package detection, just because I enjoy not being ambushed by boxes with lungs. The printer hummed out a final chore. No trespass notice and cease and desist on letterhead. Already mailed and, per Camila, being served. I stuck extra copies in a front hall folder labeled "If They Come Back." Inside, the incident card, the CPO case number, a sticky note with Camila's direct line, and my new sentence for the door. Please leave. You'll hear from our attorney. At 11:20, Miss Carter Branch, called from behind bulletproof glass calm. Mr. Bennett, your 24-month authorized user spend report is complete. Certified copy ready. Also, I set no telephone changes and added a private internal note. Do not reinstate authorized user without in-person verification plus verbal password. I'm farted into a 59. Thank you, I said. Send a digital copy to counsel. I'll pick up paper after lunch. We ate in the sunny slice near the window like people not waiting for the other shoe. No braced shoulders. No calendar math of when the next emergency would hit. Just food, and my wife across from me. And the quiet that arrives when you stop financing noise. At 12:07, unknown left a voicemail I read as a movie script. This is Deputy Koenig. Both parties acknowledged service last night. We reminded them of penalties for violation. If they contact you, call 911 and reference CPO case number. I saved it to the folder and felt the house gain a few pounds of foundation. I drove to the branch at 1:30. Miss Carter slid the stack across the desk. Merchants, timestamps, locations. Her 12 little emergencies a month rendered as ink that doesn't flinch. I signed a chain of custody cover sheet and asked for a second certified copy, one for the safe, one for Camila. Back home, I did something ceremonial and practical. I took the family photo that had been face down on the mantel and moved it to a drawer. I set the education trust folder in its place, not to gloat, but to aim. The kid's future belongs on the mantel more than an old story about the three of us pretending this wasn't what it had become. At 2:55, Lauren email, subject line screaming in all caps, "You're cruel. You made me look like an idiot at the pharmacy. My card failed. How dare you embarrass me in front of everyone? You are miserable. You don't get to control me just because you wrote checks. This is abuse." I read it twice, the way you read a storm warning and check your shutters. Then I forwarded it to Camila, appended the declined charges, timestamp, Miss Carter sent, and added one line. Pattern, intact. Minimize. Accuse, demand. Camila's reply was immediate. Thank you. This language, abuse, to describe financial boundaries, is classic gaslighting. We'll attach the email to the CPO packet. Stay the course. At 3:20, Franklin Guardian Trust confirmed the wire. Initial funding received. Trust active. Distribution policy in effect. Parental access denied. I printed the trust certificate, slid it behind the will, and felt a click in the air. I don't have a word for something like relief's older, wiser cousin. The last task was simple and seismic. I opened a fresh doc titled, Money and Boundaries, Bennett Plan. 1 page, 4 bullets. No loans, no bailouts, no one last time. All communication in writing. No porch. Every contact logged. All help if any through plans, budget counseling, job leads, childcare referrals. Not cash. Diane read it and signed the bottom with me like vows. We needed this 3 years ago. She said. We weren't ready 3 years ago, I said. We're ready now. At 4:02, Ring pinged a package. I watched a driver leave a thin envelope. Rays and Holland LLP letterhead peeked through. Inside, a copy of what the process server had just handed to Lauren and Tyler. Cease and desist. No trespass. And the CPO petition with tomorrow's docket time circled in red. Minutes later, Lauren. Lawyered up? Wow. You really chose money over family. See you in court. Hope the judge likes heartless old men. I didn't answer. The system would. I shut my laptop and looked around our Ohio kitchen, same granite, same herb jars, same light, but the air wasn't tilted anymore. The floor didn't slope toward their crisis. We'd raised the house one quiet inch at a time. Father's Day had arrived with a hiss. Today ended with a different sound. A printer cooling. A safe closing. The soft click of a boundary locking into place. Tomorrow, we walk it into a courtroom and let the record talk. Access revoked wasn't just a banner on my wall. It was our new map. At 7:41 a.m., the sky over Columbus was clean and decisive. My inbox wasn't. Subject: Preliminary discovery. Read now. From Camila Reyes. 2 things. 1. Personal disclosure, relevant to representation. 2. New evidence, possible identity theft, attempt tied to Tyler's residence. Call me. I put her on speaker so Diane could hear. Camila didn't waste words. First, you deserve context. I take cases like yours because my mother spent a decade being shaken down by an uncle who called it family help. She was too kind, he was too entitled. I built this practice so other parents wouldn't pay tuition for grown people's bad habits. A beat I didn't know I needed. Thank you, I said. The air felt warmer. Second, she continued, voice turning surgical. Your fraud alerts did their job. Experian pinged me overnight. Someone tried to open a retail card in your name IP geolocated to an apartment complex that matches Tyler's address. The application flagged the alert, stalled, and sent a verification call to a number that isn't yours. We pulled the log. She forwarded a PDF while she talked. The timestamp stared back. 6/17/11:54 p.m. after the cease and desist was served. I pictured a glowing laptop in a dim rental. Shame dressed as strategy. What do we do? I asked. We escalate to identity theft protocol, Camila said. I'm filing an FTC identitytheft.gov affidavit with your documentation, then a supplemental police report referencing your existing incident divided by CPO case numbers. After that, we add credit freezes. With all 3 bureaus, alerts are good. Freezes, shut the door. We also place an extended fraud alert once the police report number issues. You'll get copies. Diane pulled a chair closer. Anything else to lock? Yes, Camila said. USPS. Enable informed delivery and activate a move ad lock so no one files a change of address. IRS. Request an IP. PIN prevents refund fraud in your name. Bank already locked phone changes. We'll add a note at the branch. No new accounts without in-person ID and the verbal password. She paused, then added, softer. The good news. They're predictable. Patterns make good exhibits. We ended the call with a checklist and a calm neither of us earned the easy way. By 8:10, I was on identity theft. Gov. Answering questions I never wanted to know by heart. I uploaded Buckeye Reptiles, ring divided by nest, texts, porch standoff, the CPO filing, and now the Experian application log. I clicked submit and watched the confirmation number arrive like a small badge. I forwarded it to Camila with the caption, add to the wall. At 8:33, Columbus PD rang. Mr. Bennett, this is Officer Hale. We received counsel's request to append an identity theft report to your file. Can you email your FTC affidavit and the Experian log? Sent, I said. Do you need me in person? Not today. We'll generate a supplemental report number and send it to you and your attorney. If the IP trace is validated, we can pursue a separate criminal referral. The printer spat confirmation pages while Diane logged into USPS and locked our address. She read the screen. No one can forward our mail without us now. Good, I said. No more surprises showing up in boxes. At 9/7, the IRS site confirmed our IP PIN request. It wasn't sexy. It was better. I took a breath and opened the Ring app. Habit. The porch was empty and ordinary, our doormat, our ferns, our morning. Then Lauren, email, landed. Subject line trying to be a scalpel. Subject. You did this. You're turning the whole world against us. Banks, cops, your lawyer. All because we asked for help like family. This is abuse. You won't get away with it. We're not scared of court. I didn't write back. I used my contact protocol. Forward counsel, case inbox. I attached the Experian log, and in the message body wrote the words I'd learned to recognize. Entitlement, gaslighting, threat posture. Camila's reply came with a new attachment. Draft motion to expand CPO, to include no electronic application divided by impersonation orders, referencing the identity theft attempt. Also attaching proposed no contact via third parties, no flying monkeys. Review. Sign. Flying monkeys? Diane said, half a smile. People they recruit to deliver messages, I said. Triangulation with extra steps. Have taking. At 9:55, Franklin Guardian Trust pinged with a scheduled call. We confirmed beneficiaries, distribution rules, and documentation standards. The trust officer said what I'd been circling for days. This is how you love them without funding chaos. At 10:22, Miss Carter emailed a quiet bombshell. A branch security note from last week Lauren had called pretending to be me, pushing for temporary phone approval. The rep denied it and logged the attempt. The audio snippet was attached 30 seconds of my daughter trying to sound like my father used to. Impatient, certain, sure the world should slide for her. I felt the old ache and none of the old surrender. I forwarded the file to Camilla and added it to Divided by Lauren Records. Divided by with the file name 2024-0612. Phone impersonation. WAV. At 11:03, a new email chimed from Buckeye Reptiles CC'd to Camilla. Follow up as requested. We've retained footage and receipts for 90 days. Our staff member, E. Morales, confirms the purchasers declined care instructions and asked about keeping it in a box for a few hours. Morales is willing to sign a declaration. Diane closed her eyes like a prayer had been answered. It wasn't revenge. It was clarity given edges. I sent a short note back. Please thank Mr. Morales. We'll arrange the declaration through council. At noon, Camila texted a photo from the courthouse stamped copies of our amended CPO motion. The caption, filed. Judge reviewing this afternoon. We ate sandwiches at the table like new people using old plates. The house wasn't silent. It was settled. Then the double twist landed not as evidence, but as a story I'd been waiting to hear without knowing it. Camila called between hearings. Jack, one more disclosure, since we're walking into court tomorrow. When I was 19, the uncle I mentioned opened a line of credit in my mother's name after she finally stopped paying his emergencies. He called it survival. It was theft. The police treated it like a family squabble until we handed them a folder that looked like yours. That folder changed our life. I keep people from needing law school to earn that feeling. For the first time since the box hissed, I laughed not at her pain, but at the clean line between then and now. Then let's give the judge a folder that sings, I said. You already have, she said. Tomorrow, the question will be simple. Will the court protect the boundary that love built? Judges like simple questions with heavy answers. At 1:30, Officer Hale emailed our supplemental report number with a tidy conclusion. Complainant provided documentary evidence of attempted new credit application. IP trace pending. Incident linked to ongoing harassment case. By 2/5, I'd placed credit freezes with all 3 bureaus and saved the confirmations like certificates. I also printed the USPS lock, the IRS IP PIN letter, and the branch impersonation log. Each sheet slid into the binder until the stack had its own gravity. At 3:10, Lauren text took one last swing. Deleting your number. You'll regret this when you're old and alone. I answered the only way I answer now. All communication in writing. Future contact through counsel. I screenshotted it, filed it, and felt nothing, the healthy kind of nothing that means the hook missed skin. We ended the day the way you end a good build. We walked the perimeter. Ring set, doors checked, protocol taped, binder packed in my briefcase. The education trust certificate back on the mantle caught late light and turned it gold. Father's Day had handed me a lesson I should have learned sooner. Part 8 handed me something else. Proof that boundaries aren't walls, they're doors with locks and a list of who gets keys. Tomorrow, we bring the keys to court. The courthouse in Franklin County doesn't try to impress you. Beige tile. Vending machines. A bulletin board warning against ex parte contact and recording. At 9:02 a.m., Diane squeezed my hand. At 9:04, Camila arrived with a rolling case that looked like it could file a motion by itself. 2 asks. She said, low and steady, grant the civil protection order and expand it. No electronic impersonation, no third-party contact, no applications in your name, no presence at your residence, work, or church. Ready? Ready, I said. My briefcase felt heavier with proof and lighter with fear. We were called at 9:21. Bennett v. Bennett divided by Grant. The hearing room was small pews for 10, a clock that ticked like judgment. Lauren and Tyler sat opposite us. Lauren in a blouse she chose for sympathy. Tyler in a jaw he chose for intimidation. The judge, honorable. Mercer didn't waste ceremony. This is a petition for a civil protection order alleging harassment, menacing, and related conduct. Petitioner present with counsel. Respondents present pro se. He looked at Lauren. You understand you can request a continuance to obtain counsel? We don't need a lawyer, Tyler said. This is family. This is court, Judge Mercer said. Miss Reyes? Camila stood, surgical calm. Your Honor, we'll proceed by exhibits and a short testimony. Exhibits A incident report, Father's Day package. B, ring divided by nest videos. C, Buckeye Reptiles receipt, counter camera still, and custodian affidavit. D, text messages and emails threats, minimization, demands. E, porch video trespass warning issued. F, branch impersonation log with audio. G, Experian fraud alert, and FTC identity theft affidavit. H, sheriff's proof of service for cease and desist and no trespass. She handed the binder to the bailiff. Paper made a soft, decisive sound. Mr. Bennett, the judge said, briefly. What happened on June 16? I kept it clean. Father's Day package with breathing holes and a hiss. We called 911. Animal control removed a corn snake. The week before, they demanded $8,000 and threatened to withhold our grandchildren. We set boundaries. After service of letters, they came to our door. We did not engage. We documented everything. Came to us no F. Why do you need protection now? Because when we stopped funding chaos, the behavior escalated to intimidation and now identity theft attempts. I want peace in my house and integrity in my name. Camila rested a fingertip on Exhibit C. Your Honor, note the receipt's line items. Corn snake, heat pack, shipping safe box purchased with petitioner's card by authorized user Lauren, with Tyler handling the terminal. The custodian affidavit authenticates the footage and record. The judge flipped to Exhibit F. The clerk hit play. 30 seconds of a voice trying to be me, failing, pressing. The judge's eyes didn't change, but the room did. Respondents? Judge Mercer said. Your response to these exhibits? Lauren's chin lifted. He's abusive with money. He's punishing us. The snake was a prank. No one was hurt. He's making us look like criminals because he wants to control us. Do you dispute the receipt, video, or texts? The judge asked. She hesitated. Tyler leaned forward. We were desperate. He promised help, then humiliated us. And identity theft? That's ridiculous. Then it will be easy not to do it, the judge said. He turned to Camila. Relief sought? Camila didn't blink. A 1-year CPO with the following terms. 1. No contact, direct or indirect, by phone, text, email, social media, or third parties. 2. No presence at petitioner's residence, vehicles, church, or Diane Bennett's workplace. 3. No electronic or paper applications in petitioner's name. No credit, utilities, or change of address. 4. Do not possess, ship, or cause delivery of animals or any object intended to harass or intimidate. 5. Surrender any keys, garage codes. 6. Civil standby permitted for any one-time property retrieval. 7. Court finding that violation triggers arrest and criminal referral. Anything further? Judge Mercer asked. Camila slid one more sheet forward. We also submit for the court's understanding no order requested on this point a copy of a newly executed education trust for the grandchildren, Ava and Mason, distributions restricted to documented educational expenses, no parental access. Petitioner is not weaponizing money. He is redirecting it to the children's welfare. It goes to intent. The judge read the cover page, said nothing, and set it aside like a stone on the right side of a scale. He looked at Lauren and Tyler. This court is not your budget counselor, it is your boundary. Here's my ruling. Pens readied themselves in the gallery. Petitioner's motion is granted. The court issues a 1-year civil protection order with the terms requested and the following additions. Respondents shall not apply for credit, services, or benefits in petitioner's name or using his identifiers. Respondents shall not instruct others to contact petitioner on their behalf. Any violation, electronic, in person, or through third parties authorizes immediate arrest. You will receive stamped copies before you leave. Questions? Tyler's jaw worked. So if my kids want to see their grandparents, the order governs your behavior, the judge said. not the children's. If you attempt to leverage the children to force contact or money, that will reflect poorly in any future court. What I do to the death, Lauren tried one last time. He's choosing money over family. The judge capped his pen. He's choosing safety over harassment. That is this court's concern. Next case. The gavel wasn't theatrical. It didn't need to be. In the hallway, a deputy handed stamped copies to both sides. You're served, he told Lauren and Tyler gently, as if the word could be kind if you said it softly. If you contact them, you go to jail. Don't test it. Tyler took a step toward me. The deputy didn't raise a hand. He raised an eyebrow. Tyler stepped back. Camila guided us to a quieter corridor and let the victory land. You did well, she said. You kept it about facts, not fury. Feels strange, I admitted. Winning by paper. Paper is how adults fight, she said. And it leaves a trail children can grow up and read. Diane touched the trust certificate in her folder like a compass. What happens now? Now, Camila said. We email stamped copies to the school, pediatrician, and church. We give the non-contact note to administrators so there's no confusion at pickup lines. We send the order to the bank and credit bureaus to hard flag your profile. And you go home. We walked past the vending machines, past a sign about small claims, past the part of the building where people come to learn late that documentation beats declarations. Out on High Street, the light felt like the courthouse had polished it. My phone buzzed once unknown. Voicemail transcribed. This is Franklin Guardian Trust, confirming we received the court order. As a courtesy, we're adding it to the trust file. If anyone attempts to access funds improperly, we will require counsel approval. Congratulations on establishing clear boundaries. In the car, Diane let out a long, careful breath. I thought I'd feel sadder. I feel clean, I said. At home, I set the stamped order in the safe beside the will and the education trust. 3 papers, 1 story, cause consequence. The doorbell chimed at 4:10, just a delivery. A thin envelope from Reyes in Holland with certified copies and a sticky note in Camila's handwriting. Boundaries are love, frame the peace. I didn't frame it, I lived it. And for the first time in years, the house stayed quiet without me paying for it. The first night after court was ordinary in a way that felt rare dishwasher hum. Porch light, the creak in our hallway I keep meaning to fix. No sirens, no texts, no emergency. I slept like a man whose house finally sits on level ground. Morning brought things I used to miss while I was wiring money to prevent chaos. Sunlight on Diane's basil plants, a neighbor waving with both hands. The sound a newspaper makes when it lands right on the doormat. The education trust certificate still sat on the mantel where the old family photo used to live. Not a trophy. A compass. I brewed coffee and said it out loud. To no one and to everyone who's ever stood where I stood. Boundaries are love. Funding chaos is not. We didn't throw a party. We did maintenance. I scanned the stamped CPO order into 3 folders, divided by home safe, council active, estate evidence, divided by, and dropped a certified copy at our church office and the kids' school, with a short, calm line. If anyone attempts contact or pickup without us, here's what you need on file. The administrators nodded like people who read policies for sport. It felt good to hand professionals a paper that could do its job. That afternoon, Diane and I walked the cul-de-sac. Nothing looked different. Everything was. The debrief, the part I wish I'd heard 3 years ago. I'm not a therapist or a lawyer. I'm a retired engineer with a case number, a trust, and a house that no longer tilts towards someone else's demand. But here's what I learned, in plain language for anyone who needs it. 1. The psychology, naming the pattern, so it loses power. Entitlement sounds like love when you're tired. It uses words like family and emergency, and just this once. It's a script, not a crisis. Gaslighting flips the lights off and asks why you're stumbling. You're dramatic. You're a narcissist. You're choosing money over family. It's not feedback. It's a tool to keep you paying the bill and apologizing. Enablers come in 2 models. The one outside you, the partner who exit on, and the one inside you, the part that can't stand to see your child struggle. The second one is the dangerous one, because it uses your best qualities against you. Boundaries are not walls, they're rules of engagement. They don't punish, they clarify. They don't cure a narcissist. They protect you from one. The moment that changed me wasn't the snake. It was this sentence I finally believed. Was I enabling their toxic behavior all this time by being too nice? It's time to stop feeling guilty and start fighting back. Fighting back looked like paper, not shouting. If you need a human to say it, get one. Diane and I sat with a family therapist for 3 sessions after the hearing. The therapist reframed my guilt in one sentence I wrote on a sticky note. You're not cutting your daughter off. You're cutting the pipeline to her worst habits. That sentence turned oxygen back on in our kitchen. 2. The paper US. Practical steps that work, not advice information. Ask a professional in your state. But here's what moved the needle for us. Document everything. Screenshots with timestamps. Export text threads to PDF. Save ring divided by nest clips. Title your files like a librarian. YY. MMDD. Topic. Print. Sign the back with date divided by time. Paper beats memory. Call 911 when a line is crossed. Let animal control or police handle danger. Ask for the incident number. Say, I'm documenting. They will give it to you. Hire counsel who speaks fluent boundary. Camila gave us 3 lanes: protection, CPO, paper trust, divided by letters, pressure, consequences. Good lawyers turn your pile of panic into exhibits. Civil protection order, CPO, divided by restraining order, civil on paper, criminal if violated. Include, no contact, direct divided by indirect, no third-party contact, no presence at home divided by work, divided by church, no applications in your name, credit, utilities, address changes, no deliveries meant to harass, yes, even pranks. Cease and desist, plus no trespass letters, served, logged, boring. Effective. Deputies like paper. Judges love it. Bank hygiene. Remove authorized users. Set verbal passwords. Boundary is love works. Flag no telephone changes. Change PINs divided by passwords after your lawyer pulls transaction histories. Close external transfers. Stop auto pays that keep disasters alive. Trusts. We used an education trust with a spendthrift clause and an independent trustee. Translation. Money for Ava and Mason only. Paid to schools divided by tutors divided by books, not to parents. It's how you love grandchildren without financing their parents' chaos. Identity theft protocol. Fraud alerts first, credit freezes next. FTC identity theft.gov affidavit. Supplemental police report. USPS informed delivery. Plus move ad lock. IRS IP PIN. Boring steps save futures. Contact protocol. Mine fits on a recipe card by the door. All communication in writing. No in-person visits. Future contact through counsel. Repeat it until your throat stops trying to fix other people's consequences. Civil standby. If they need to pick up property, schedule with police present. No improvising on porches. We ended auto payments that were keeping adults from adulthood. We offered plans instead. Budget counseling. Job leads. Childcare referrals. Help with a plan. Never with a bailout. We reworked our will so it reflected reality, not hope. Reality got us peace. Hope had us drowning. We replaced apologies with protocols. We love you is not a bank transaction. We're available for a conversation with a budget, and a calendar at a neutral office is a boundary. We moved the old photo from the mantle to a drawer and put the trust certificate up. Not as a snub, as a North Star, the human part, because paperwork doesn't hug you. A week after the hearing, Diane asked, "Do you think she understands what she lost?" I told her the truth. Maybe not yet, but, I added, she'll learn what she can no longer take. Sometimes that's the only lesson we get to teach. We didn't send victory texts. We sent silence and consistency, and when grief crept in at night, the kind that tells you, a good father would just pay. I read the court order like a lullaby for grown-ups. No contact, no trespass, no applications, or jail. Boundaries you can hold in your hand quiet the part of you that's used to losing arguments in your head. Camila called once more, not as counsel, but as someone who recognizes finish lines. "How's the house?" she asked. "Level," I said. "Good," she said. "Keep it that way." A short script for anyone standing at their own front door. If you're listening to this because your porch has heard one too many ultimatums, here's a script you can borrow. At the door, through the lock, all communication in writing. Please leave the property. On the phone. I'm not discussing this by call. Email me your plan with a budget and a timeline. To yourself, I'm not cruel. I'm consistent. To the bank, remove authorized users, add a verbal password, flag no telephone changes. To was repeat in the nighted. To a lawyer, I have documentation. I want a protection order and a trust that protects kids, not chaos. And if the word family is used like a wrench to loosen your wallet, answer with the sentence that rebuilt our house. Family doesn't extort family. Epilogue. We still get sunlight on the basil. We still get mail. None of it hisses. Once a week, I open the safe and touch 3 papers: the will, the education trust, the CPO, not to admire them, but to remind myself what they represent: cause and consequence, love and limits, peace you can prove. Sometimes I think about the box with the breathing holes. It wasn't a gift. It was a mirror. It showed me the man I had become, an expert at wiring money and writing apologies. Then it showed me the man I could be, someone who writes policies instead. If you need a final line to carry out of this story, take mine. I didn't choose money over family. I chose boundaries over harassment, reality over hope, and a future for my grandchildren over a pipeline to someone else's worst habits. The house is quiet now. Not because I'm lucky. Because I built it that way. If this whole mess taught me anything, it's this. No is a complete sentence. You don't owe anyone a dissertation for protecting your peace. Boundaries aren't cruelty. They're mental health infrastructure. I spent years confusing generosity with love and guilt with responsibility. That's how gaslighting works. You pay the bill and apologize for asking to see the receipt. The day I stopped funding chaos and started documenting screenshots, incident numbers, emails, was the day the anxiety fog lifted. Paper beats panic. Therapy helped too. My counselor reframed it perfectly. I didn't cut my daughter off. I cut off the pipeline to her worst habits. The CPO protects our sanity. The education trust loves the grandkids without rewarding entitlement. The no trespass and contact in writing rules end the porch wars. My biggest lesson: peace needs policies, bank controls, clear boundaries, a written plan, and you don't negotiate those at the door. So, Reddit-style gut check time. AITA for lawyering up, revoking access, and funding a trust for the kids instead of handing over cash for family. What would you have done in my situation, especially after the prank package with breathing holes? Have you dealt with an entitled or narcissistic family member, or their favorite enabler? What survival tips kept your sanity intact? Scripts, apps, legal steps, one-liners that shut down manipulation. If you've navigated no contact or low contact, what boundaries were non-negotiable? Drop your stories, playbook, or even your "wish I'd done this sooner" in the comments. Someone scrolling at 2 a.m. needs your blueprint. And if you're standing at your own front door right now, hear this from me. You're not heartless, you're healing. Boundaries on paper become freedom in your home.